Morning. You see that white stuff? Yeah. Could have done without that. Garbage. And I know I'm gonna get somebody that comments, oh, it's so pretty. It is, in pictures. So yesterday, before the snow started, I went out and checked the beans. Beans were right, excuse me, right at our limit. They were right around 15-16%. And I thought, you know what? The heck with it. We gotta get these things off. I'm cutting. So I ended up cutting the Wilson trailer full. And I came back, swapped trailers, grabbed the Tempty, and I went out there and I cut one full load off. And as I was cutting the first load, it started to snow a little bit. And it's like, all right. So I got the first load in there. I cut the second load. And as I was cutting the second load, the beans were getting tough to cut. The pods were starting to get, and the plants were starting to get wet because of snow hitting them and melting and things like that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna push through. The moisture of the beans themselves were still good. Everything was shelling. I just had to slow down and open the machine up a little bit. But I just pushed through. And I was on my third load, halfway through my third load, and my phone's ringing. Hang on a minute. I better take this. Okay, sorry about that. But as I was saying, I was halfway through my third load, and I'm watching the moisture close on the beans, and all of a sudden the beans just spiked in moisture. They went from like 15% up to 19, like that. I'm like, okay, so I'm done. I shut everything down, put what I had in the truck, started the truck to build the air pressure in the truck, and closed the tarp, cleaned the combine out, you know, and did all that fancy hoo-ha. And then I got done with all that. I got in the truck and I only had like 40 pounds of air. I'm like, that ain't right. So I raised the RPMs up and it gained a little bit of air, not much. And then finally I ran her right up to 1500 RPMs, and after 15 minutes at 1500 RPMs, I built enough air pressure to release the brakes. And I had to drive all the way back to the farm with it above 1500 RPMs just to keep the air pressure up to prevent the brakes from locking up on the thing. So today's project is I'm tearing into that air compressor to find out what's going on there. We're hoping it's just a bad governor. So I'm going to replace the governor and replace the unloading valves on it, and hopefully that fixes the problem. But if it doesn't, then we're gonna have to get a new air compressor for this thing, and that can get very expensive. So that's my project today, is to get this thing up and going again so we can get these beans that are a little on the wet side off this trailer before they gain any more moisture. So while I'm tearing that apart, I think I'm gonna put that fan that I showed you guys in the other videos in here, just to kind of circulate some air in them beans to prevent them from getting too wet. Because if beans are wet enough, they'll actually gain a little bit of moisture. So yeah, I think I'll do that. I'm gonna throw that fan in there, get that fan going, and then put some gloves on because it's 25 degrees and there's snow on the ground and it's cold and I hate it. You know, you get where I'm going with it. All right, then I'm gonna get to work. This is my issue, the unloader valves. They're very sticky. So we are driving an hour south to Macomb to get new unloader valves for it, and then it should air up properly. I did get a new governor, so I'm going to put a new governor on there, a new unloader valve, and see how well that does. All right, I got my unloader valve kit. And while we were there, I got a phone call saying that my parts from the John Deere dealer were in. So I got the new cutter bar section. We got the door handle for the tractor. So we've got a lot of fixing to do right now. All right, we got the old cutter bar section out. I had to run to Home Depot and actually get some new bolts for it. But it's working out good. Is the wind blowing in, you guys? I don't have my phone microphone thingy. I got one coming though. But anyway, we're gonna put the head in, or the new cutter bar in the head, and get this buttoned up so this is ready to go. I did find out the air compressor is bad on the truck, so now I gotta find an air compressor for that. And then, I don't know what. We'll figure it out. So we got the combine up and going now. New cutter bar in that. I have to go back to the farm, get the serial number off the motor, so I get the correct air compressor for that. But something happened to us that has never happened to me before. Me and my oldest, we stopped at the gas station to get fuel in the truck because we were running low on our way out here. And we looked over, and my youngest son was over getting gas. So, you know, my oldest went over and was chit-chatting with him while I was pumping fuel, and he drove around when he was done, and he goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "We're going out to the field, work on the combine." He goes, "You want to go to McDonald's and get some lunch?" I'm like, "Yeah, we could do that." I go, "You buying?" He goes, "Yeah, I'll buy." I was like, "Rock on, man." So we went, and our youngest bought his older brother lunch and bought me lunch today. That don't happen too often. He's a bit of a tightwad, which is a good thing, but I was impressed. I found a place up in Saginaw that has an air compressor, but I found it at 4 o'clock. They close at 5. There was no way I was going to get up there in time to get it. So I took the old air compressor off the motor, and I have that in the bed of my truck right now because it's like a $600 core. So I need to figure out when they open in the morning and drive up to Saginaw, get the new air compressor, return this one for the core. Then I can spend however long putting the new air compressor back on. Yeah, good times. The old one came off, not difficult, but it wasn't easy either. Surprisingly enough, we did not break or strip any bolts out. Everything came apart relatively easy. There were some curse words involved, and some spillage of antifreeze and more curse words, you know, typical stuff like that. So tomorrow morning I'm gonna head to Saginaw and get that new compressor. So I think I might continue this until tomorrow. So we'll talk to you in the morning. Morning. You got to check this out. Look at that. Huh? Fancy brand new air compressor. Now I got to do the install. And I ended up having to get 5 gallons of antifreeze because, well, I'll walk you over there and show you. That air compressor is liquid cooled, and I, being the dummy that I am, forgot about that. So when I unhooked one line, well, look. Yeah, good times. But that's all right. We're going to get this new air compressor in. We are going to get her filled with antifreeze, and then hopefully we can run this load in today. All right, folks, it has not been a good day. Not a good day at all. This truck, I'm still having issues with the air system. It will, at idle, it'll air up to about 50 PSI and then stop. Will not build above 50. If I throttle it up to about 1,000 to 1,200 RPMs, it'll build up to about 75 PSI, then stop. Won't build any higher than that. If I run her up to 2,000 RPMs, then I can build up to 120 PSI and the air dryer goes off like it should and everything, but I gotta be running at 2,000 RPMs to get that. And then as soon as I go back down to idle, my secondary tank loses pressure, but the primary tank stays pressurized. So that was telling me that I've got an air leak somewhere. So I've been all over this truck with a soapy bottle or soapy water in a spray bottle, going crazy. And I narrowed it down to a braided line that comes off of the air compressor and goes into the air dryer right here. When you have it pressurized above 50 PSI and you spray that hose, the entire hose bubbles. And I think that's where I'm losing all my air pressure, is out of this hose. And because it's not a specific hole, it wasn't hissing or nothing. It was just like when you pick this hose up and bend it, it cracks. It's so old and brittle. So the entire hose was just like weeping air. And I'm hoping, knock on wood, I'm hoping that's my whole issue. The hose place to make me a new hose closed at 5, and naturally I didn't get this hose off until 10 after 5. So, hopefully this is the last thing I need to do, and then I can get these beans hauled in, because today would have been a perfect day to be out cutting. Problem is, both of those trucks right there are full of beans, and I can't move them because this truck's got air issues and that truck's got a motor torn out of it right now. Garbage. Garbage, garbage, garbage. So, all right, I'm gonna end this video now rather than just turning it into a 3-day video. Maybe I'll film a little tomorrow, and hopefully we can be up and cutting tomorrow, but we'll see. All right, thanks for watching.